to see if Welcome, everybody, to the World Bank Listen session here at the Teacher Tech Summit 2023. It's fantastic to be here and to be with everybody. My name is Bob Hawkins, and I'm our global lead for EdTech here at the World Bank. I'll be your host for this session, which is a culmination of 4 regional events that took place as part of the Teacher Tech Summit this year. So this session will be in 2 parts. The first part will welcome 4 teachers that are representing 4 of the regions in which the Teacher Tech Summit took place. And they'll be sharing their experiences and challenges in incorporating EdTech to their day-to-day teaching. They'll share innovative practices, impactful teaching methods, and effective use of EdTech in leveraging low to high tech that is available in the mix of countries that are represented here. In part 2, we'll then welcome Jaime Saavedra, who's our Global Director of Education here at the World Bank, along with Ministries of Education from Palestine and El Salvador, as well as some of our colleagues in the World Bank, our managers for those regions, the Middle East and North Africa, as well as Latin America and the Caribbean. And in this session, we'll take the opportunity to reflect on the discussions that we're going to have right now in part 1 and explore what skills are necessary for teachers to leverage technology, and which are the best strategies to improve teacher professional development to support teachers in the classroom. We're going to have a Q&A happening at the end of the session, so please take advantage of the social media channels to post any questions, comments, observations that you might have as we engage in this session. So with that said, let me first of all welcome our outstanding innovative teachers as our panelists for part 1 of this session. And I want to start with Ms. Francisca Paragues. She's a teacher from Chile. And Francisca, if you could please introduce yourself to the audience, where you teach, what you teach, and what got you motivated in exploring EdTech in your teaching. And then we'll go to Sabrina, Jose, and then last but not least, Naja. So Francisca, over to you.
Thank you, Robert. Hello, this is Francisca Parragués. I am from Chile. I am a teacher of English at Emilia Lascar School. We are in the suburbs of Santiago de Chile. I teach from only primary students, and what motivated me to teach, to incorporate EdTech in my daily teaching is that to face the new challenges that our students are presenting to us in terms of their interests and their motivations. And with that, I hope to capture that along with EdTech. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you very much, Francisca. This is a really important point to kind of better understand what were some of the lessons from COVID and the challenges and the motivations going forward. Sabrina, can I introduce you to the conversation?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share. My name is Sabrina Gonçalves. I'm an EdTech leader in Brazil and also a science teacher in São Paulo City. For those who cannot see me, I'd like to give my description. I'm a white woman with dark hair, wearing a blue t-shirt in a white background. And I would like to say that I'm motivated to integrate technology in my classrooms and also in my leading team, with my leading team, because it's very interesting. How can we expand the possibility to put our students to protagonize their own journey and put them exactly in the center of their learning. So it's very possible to do that with technology. And also because I am myself very enthusiastic of innovation.
Tudo bem. Thank you. Obrigado, Sabrina. Putting teachers in the center and motivating them through technology, I think, is going to be an important theme of this discussion. Let me go to Jose, who's coming to us from Compton, California. Jose.
Hello, thank you. From Davis Middle School. I am the 21st Century Learning Specialist here at Davis, and I oversee the STEM classes and train the 6th grade STEM classes, and I am also the proud coordinator of our student tech team. And part of what motivates me is really having our students who are kind of underrepresented in the STEM fields and really encouraging them and influencing them and introducing them to technology. So hopefully they're going to be our world changers in the future.
Thank you, Jose. It'll be very interesting for you to unpack a little bit what 21st century skill teacher means and how you balance some of the softer 21st century skills, collaboration, empathy, creativity, problem solving, with some of the harder STEM skills that you teach. Let me go to Naja from Jordan. Naja, welcome. And Naja, you're on mute.
Hello, everyone. I'm Najah Salhi from Jordan, mathematics teacher, international section at Al Jamia Schools, bachelor's degree in mathematics from the University of Jordan, master's degree in educational technology from Arab Open University, working now on research about the effectiveness of gamification, teaching a program based on gamification strategy on enhancing students' mathematical.
You froze there for a second, Naja. If you can just repeat the last sentence.
Yeah, I'm working now on research about the effectiveness of a teaching program based on gamification strategy on enhancing students' mathematical power skills and their academic achievements.
So Naja, I want to come back to you on this. This was one of the big lessons that we learned from COVID, is that teaching remotely online cannot be the same as in a face-to-face engagement, and the importance of how to engage students and the role of gamification came out as a theme as we looked at experiences around countries. Now, each one of you have been nominated and selected based on the regional events that took place over the past number of months. I'd like to kind of get into the meat of the conversation now, and for each of you to think about and share some of the innovative and impactful approaches that have worked well with your students using EdTech, and which ones you think are useful and impactful to replicate elsewhere. Why you chose this technology, why you think it worked, and what were the enabling factors that would make it replicable in another country. So Naja, while you're on here, I want to start with you, and I want you to kind of maybe delve a little bit deeper into the work that you've done around gamification and math, and kind of what your reflection on this experience has been. Naja?
Yes. Well, what inspired me to be passionate in my major is the deep love for mathematics, teaching, and making positive impact on the students' lives. I'm actually enjoying the challenge of creating effective and interactive teaching methods and tools that encourage students to enjoy learning mathematics. So my mission is to make learning fun. The first thing that I would like to share with the teachers around the world, from my experience, one of the most impactful strategies of teaching that motivates students makes learning more interactive and engaging, making it easier for students to understand and retain information. It can also provide a sense of accomplishment and achievement, which is the gamification strategy, my major. Basically, by making the class as a competition ring, the students are players progressing towards levels of mastery, implementing point system, and award the students with badges, silver, golden, and diamond for each completed task and achieved educational aim. I believe that incorporating real-life situations, technology, and learning by projects can be a powerful way to engage students, and allowing them to take part in hands-on projects is an excellent way to create unforgettable learning experience and increase students' creativity. So because of that, I came up with a creative combination of technology and learning by projects, Fractions with a Quest, a web page that has 6 attributes, include an introduction to a complex problem, interesting tasks, and a description of the process, interactive resources, followed by evaluation rubrics and conclusions. For the fractions web quest that I used with my students, the project was using their mathematical knowledge to create their own design of cooking books by using modeling fractions and mixed number. The results were impressive. And that's all. I hope that added something to your knowledge. Thank you for listening.
That was fantastic, Naja. Thank you very much for sharing. You know, one of the challenges that we face in all countries that we work in is innovative teachers like you that want to introduce something new into the classroom and the curriculum. There's very little space. So project-based learning, problem-based learning tend to happen after school. So I'd like you all to think about kind of how you've managed to kind of integrate innovations into what is usually a very tight curriculum. As well as this concept of badging and micro-credentials, and whether that might be a way to further recognize skills that maybe aren't surfacing through our existing curricula. I want to move to Francisca now and have her share a little bit about an experience that she had at her school during COVID. We had discussions with the Ministry of Education in Spain, and they were amazed during COVID at the number of innovative teachers that had set up YouTube channels. They had no idea that these teachers were out there. And our sense is there's so many more innovative teachers that are kind of waiting to be discovered. So maybe you can share with us a little bit about your own TV channel. I think it's called Emilia TV that you set up. Francisca, over to you.
Thank you, Robert. Yes, well, I'm speaking for my school, Emilia Lascar. We were last year's winners of the Innovation Prize in T4, and we would like to share our experience with Emilia TV. This was our TV channel. Well, it wasn't quite a TV channel per se, but it's related to what Robert was saying. We saw as a school that we needed to reach out to our students during the quarantines, during the curfews that we had in our country. We work in a semi-vulnerable school, so we need contact with our students, and we turn to YouTube and to other content creation pages like TikTok in a moment. But basically what we did was to ask our students to create content related to what they were learning so they could share it with us, and then in turn we shared that content within the school. At first, we were with just a computer, a basic computer, and then we started asking for more resources to our city hall, and it started expanding even more. So then we started refining our process. We started asking our students to create other kind of content, more related to their own talents, because we were focusing on accompanying them in terms of social emotional support, because they were disconnected from us, and they were disconnected. The entire school was fragmented, so we wanted to strengthen the relationship with our students and our students with us. So in that moment, we thought of creating Emilia TV as a means of supporting their learning, but also their social emotional growth. Through content creation, they were able to display their passions, to show their talents, and to experiment with playing to be YouTubers, which is something that they want to do and they would like to do. And in that way, they also were able to learn and to acquire new talents and new skills, like for example editing videos, or even investigating new topics for them to show them through their content. And then we have sort of moved on from that. Not right now, we are also working with Emilia TV, but in another area of learning. We are displaying content that they create every Friday, and we are also including parents here. We want to teach them to how to give them tools for them to apply with their own children in their house. Sometimes they don't know how to manage certain things like emotional support and growing up. These are topics that are very important for us to tackle. So we give them tools for them to apply in their house, in their homes, and in this way we can accompany them, and we can also share those with our students, and they can feel more secure in this process that is growing up. Thank you, Robert. This is all.
Thank you, Francisca. This is a fascinating experience that you're sharing. How to engage young people in empowering them to tell their own stories. And it gets to kind of a trend that we're seeing around the democratization of content creation. We were in Colombia a few weeks ago, and we're actually working with a number of disadvantaged youth who were using AI to create stories as well as images in a graphic novel format to tell their stories around climate change. So I think the scope for this is incredible, and the connection you've made back to the house, to the parents, is often a variable that is not connected in terms of your job as a teacher of kind of managing this broader network of supporters in helping youth to learn. So I think it's a fantastic experience. I want to move over to Jose, who is from a very tough part of LA, Compton. And in his videos that we've observed, he working with middle school students, using technology to inspire them and help them think about their own futures. In many cases, our youth have very low expectations, and trying to help them think differently about their potential is an important factor. So Jose, I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about some of the challenges and opportunities that you see, again, as a 21st century learning specialist. And I'd be very interested in how you think about 21st century skills as well, but how you use technology to kind of break through to some of these students, particularly on the science projects that you feature in your videos.
As far as thank you. As far as some of the challenges, we're an inner city school, and many of our students come from working class neighborhoods. Some of them might be exposed to areas of high crime, and yet our kids are resilient, and like flowers that grow to the concrete, they shine and they grow. And so for us, the digital divide was also somewhat wide. Many of our kids did not have fast internet at home, and we had computers, but we had to share 60 computers between 600 students. And for us, a game changer was we were recipients of the Verizon Innovative Schools Grant and the Verizon Innovative Lab Grant. And that really was a changer for us. Suddenly our students had access to iPads, and we had advanced technology. Our students had 4 years of internet that they could take at home, and they could use that as well. And I received training as well, and I think that was a main factor for us. I'm a firm believer in relationships and partnerships, and those relationships that I build with my students and the trust that I build with my parents is what made me successful, and also those partnerships we have built as well. And with us having a partnership led to other partnerships. We have a fantastic partnership in training with Arizona State University, where I'm learning from people who are teaching me innovative new techniques and are at the cutting edge of technology. And also this has led to other innovations and partnerships as well with Gear Up, which is University of Irvine. And also the support from our district, and I have an amazing principal as well. And also I think we have a world-class ed tech department that's also provided me all this training. And so, as I said earlier, our students are underrepresented in the STEM field. And now I believe that they have a chance. They're exposed to technology at a younger age. And I have seen witnesses firsthand this year, our students won the Siena Solution Challenge, and along with 20 other countries, on a Mars project. And I'm a firm believer in project-based learning. And just think about this, middle school kids solving solutions for living on Mars. And something I always share with my students is that one day before I die, hopefully in my lifetime, that I'm gonna see a Mars colony with faces that look like them. And so these partnerships that I'm a strong believer in, I think is the way of the future. Partnerships with schools, with governmental institutions of higher learning, and also corporation. You know, right now we have an emphasis on sustainability and renewable energy sources, and rightly so. And I think there's another sustainable resource that we have to also continue to fund, and that's our kids. You know, in my classroom are the leaders of tomorrow, the doctors and the engineers and the lawyers. And I believe as we continue on and using project-based learning and trying to create a student-centered classroom where students have an opportunity to choose what they're gonna learn and how they're gonna learn, and creating an environment where students are allowed to make mistakes and errors. And just like real life, learning through their errors and mistakes, and it's fine for them to correct even the teacher, because even the teacher makes mistakes as we're learning together in this 21st century classroom.
Thank you, Jose. I mean, you bring up very important issues of resilience and really the importance of failure, of pushing students to that point that they need to understand where their knowledge limits are and be able to kind of help them to get over those limits. I'm going to give a small plug for our own World Bank EdTech strategy that has 5 principles. The first one, always asking why. What's the change you want to see in the classroom, which you've articulated. The second is for all at scale. How do we reach the most marginalized, which each of you have articulated as well. The third, empowering teachers, which is what this is about. The third being data-driven. How do we use data more effectively? And the final was engaging the ecosystem. How do we work with partners? This is another role that you're taking on as a teacher. We normally think of ministries of education as reaching out to these partners, but you yourself have reached out to ASU, to companies. So again, the evolving role and responsibilities of teachers and innovative teachers, I think, is an important theme to keep in mind. And I'd love to kind of learn more about how you juggle everything and how you see yourself as an innovative teacher. Let me go to Sabrina in Sao Paulo. We're very inspired by a lot of the work that's happening in various parts of the country, particularly the challenges and opportunities around STEM, which is the area that you're working in. And I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about kind of how you're working with technology and STEM in Sao Paulo. Sabrina?
Hi, everyone. That's a huge challenge, actually, to work with STEM, not only for us living in Sao Paulo, but I had to tell that the whole Brazil, it's a tough challenge. As you may know, we are living in a very complex and varied scenario. In my case, for example, I work both with teachers' education and also with the young children, like from, I would say, from 12 to 15 years old. So in the case of teachers here, what we are facing is a non-satisfactory situation in terms of pedagogical skills development and also content understanding, and also numbers of teachers in the education market. So currently we are facing this very huge gap in our city and also in our country. So I've been working with formation, with training of teachers to address this kind of situation. So we would have more people working in this area, especially girls, I would say. We are very worried in training girls since from the young ones to be a student passionate about STEAM, and also teachers, because once teachers are already trained, already formed, they start being a little bit insecure and they don't feel confident working with teen topics. So in my trainings nowadays, we are looking for this kind of situation, especially. But I have to tell that it's not easy because, for instance, in São Paulo, to let you have a big picture, you know the same. We have even in one neighborhood, would have a very rich school with resources, connectivity, teachers training, good curriculum, but in the same neighborhood, just 100 meters after this situation, we would face a completely different a whole. We would face a poor school with non-training teachers working more than 6 hours per week, and students would never have a cell phone. They share a cell phone with their family. So in terms of equity, STEAM is it's a very difficult topic area for us. More or less like what was Joseph was telling for us about his situation. But what we have here, it's completely different because in Brazil we have different situations in just one street. We could have good training in one school and a completely poor training in another school. So for me as a STEAM teacher and also a STEAM leader in integration of technology, our my point over my classes and also my trainings are trying to address simple simple things that could empower teachers to be more confident to work with this kind of topic, with problems, with project-based learning, simple technology that they could feel confident using them as a tool and also as a way to solve their problems, and also with the girls to make themselves very confident going on because they are interested. We know that they are interested in this thing, but what they might need, maybe an opportunity, maybe an intention in the classroom to put them into the focus of the problem. So it's more or less like that. It's a huge and complex situation, especially in this STEAM topic, but we are putting a lot of effort to do so.
Thank you, Sabrina. This is a debate and discussion we have often. Is technology exacerbating these socioeconomic divides, or is it bringing more people to be able to access quality knowledge and education? And is it making access to education more equal? I think that's a debate that will continue, as well as the challenge of how do you foster the development of the foundational skills, the basic numeracy and literacy, before you can even build out the socio-emotional skills. And what is the role of technology in building out those skills? And the final interesting thing that you said was around girls and STEM. And I tend to think we have a marketing problem here. How do we better market STEM, not just to girls in particular, but to youth in general? And is there a role of project-based learning to illustrate that this isn't just dry math and engineering and science, but these are tools to solve big challenges, whether it's climate change or migration or whatever the challenges might be? So how can we think differently about the marketing of STEM? Let me stay with you though, Sabrina, because I think another interesting aspect of your work is your focus on data. And I wonder if you can talk to us a little bit about how you're thinking about assessment, which I think in many cases can be powerful. I mean, we have be data driven as one of our principles, but can also be limiting because you don't want the assessment tail wagging the pedagogical and curriculum dog, so to speak. So how do you think about assessment? How do you think about formative assessment? And how are you using data to better understand where your students are? And are you able to personalize this learning? This is something that we talk a lot about, but you as teachers have a lot on your plate. Is it even realistic for you to use data to give a more personalized education to your students? Sabrina?
Thank you, Robert. I will try to answer you by giving you a piece of example also from my classroom, because I also think that data driven is an important way to solve many of our problems. For example, diagnosis. So how we can identify where our students are, how they are, and maybe improve our classes, our next steps, or our decision making process. So just to say something about a problem that I have, that I faced, and I solved it collecting data. I was a teacher in science teacher in 2020, as many of you people who are listening to us, and our schools in Brazil, as yours, were closing, and we were supposed to teach online. And I was completely worried about how my students were, and if they were gaining some knowledge, gaining some skills or not. And I was sure that maybe I was perceiving something that they were not. So I was completely interested in addressing this gap, the difference between what I was perceiving from the students and what they were perceiving from their own journey. So what I did and that opportunity, and I kept doing the same so far, as using a complement, a technology called, and it's a spreadsheet add-on called Plasmon. And what this add-on makes is to unify what is collected in a Google form to an automated spreadsheet that organize the data and give me graphs uh, showing the difference between my grades, for example, and their own grades, their own perception. So they fill the form with their self-evaluating themselves, and I also fill the form evaluating them in a certain activity. And these add-ons showed me the difference between what they were thinking and what I was accessing. Obviously, there was a gap. I could notice that maybe I was evaluating them more positively than they were evaluating themselves. And the opposite was also true sometimes. And the ace in the hole comes when I took this data collected and could have information about how distant, how long, how far I was from my student. So I could take this information to take the decision what I was supposed to do in the next step. And it was completely positive because the student felt part of the process. They start to be honest when they were self-evaluating themselves, and also start bringing me too many results because I start choosing best practice for the next classes. So it is data driven. It's data driven, and it was too important for me, and it still is so far.
For me, this conversation is fascinating because it's exposing kind of all of the different roles and responsibilities that are emerging for teachers. We have game designers, we have TV producers, we have partnership managers, and we have data miners. I'm wondering if we can, this final question, just to conclude this session, if you can share with us a little bit about kind of how you think about innovative teachers. What do you think are the motivations and responsibilities for replicating what you do? How do you prepare students for the 21st century? What's the type of training that you think is essential to massify the type of work that you're doing? And what would you like to see in terms of changes in the teaching profession and the preparation of teachers? Let me start with you, Naja, in Jordan. I know it's a big question, but it's an opportunity to kind of reflect on where you'd like to see teacher and the teaching profession go in Jordan. Naja?
Yes. Actually, by engaging students and giving them the problem-solving skills and the 21st century skills, by improving their knowledge and by doing what is they love, by making learning fun and engaging them all of the time by using new strategies like learning by doing and learning by hands-on strategies. So I'm looking forward for all the teachers to be passionate in their measures and giving teaching to make positive impact on the lives of our students.
Thank you, Naja. And again, I would be fascinated to kind of hear from the audience kind of how we do this with existing constraints with time, curriculum, assessment systems. But let me move to Jose to share your reflections on this question. Jose?
Thank you. Thank you. I think experimentation, innovation requires experimentation. I think, again, going to those classrooms where students are allowed to learn from their mistakes as they're trying to find solutions. And I also think that teaching doesn't happen in a void. I stand on the shoulders of all those who have a goal to help me become successful. And I find that my students come on Saturdays and stay after school when they're working on projects that affect them, whether they're working on solving the issue of the drought in Los Angeles, or sustainability, or creating a homeless center. These are things that they care about, and they're learning along the way. And so I'm more like a facilitator, where I am, and at times we're learning the software at the same time, or new technology. And again, allowing for that environment, and continue to bring all those risks, all the stakeholders that we have, the corporations like Verizon, the Arizona State University, University of Irvine, and the wonderful training that we're receiving, as well as a visionary principle that we have as well. And this is what really has given me a lot of success, and focusing on student-centered learning, where students have an opportunity. We talked about girls in STEM. There's many a times where the girls are the captains of the teams that they pick when we're working on projects. And so allowing for those opportunities for girls as well to be participants in STEM, and encouraging them.
No, that's fantastic. I think you have to be a facilitator, but also a little bit of a rebel to shake up your systems.
Definitely.
And trying to find ways in which to kind of inspire teachers, not just to deliver knowledge in the curriculum, but to really think about how to engage with their communities, with their students, and inspire them. I think is really important and inspiring from all of you. Francisca, let me go to you. What's your reflection on this discussion, Francisca?
Well, I would like to focus maybe not so much in the aspect of our students, but I would like to share something as a teacher that I really believe that we must not forget that we were students too. So in that sense, we need to be aware that we must not forget to be students as well. To be an innovative person, an innovative teacher means that we also need to keep an open mind to try new things. And we need to listen to our students and keep an open mind of what they request, because if we want to empower them, we need to listen to them, and then maybe the things that they suggest, we can take them into our own teaching our own teaching process and our strategies, and then we can research, we can include them, and in that sense, how can we expect to teach them something new if we don't try it first? So it's an invitation for all teachers to dare to try new things and look for new resources, new strategies, new equipment to allow our students to learn using new things and to experiment. I believe this is Jose that said something about experimenting. I think that's spot on. So we need to try new things. We need to empower our students, but first we need to also try those things ourselves first. Thank you.
No, I love this spirit, and really this is the heart of, I think, the challenge is this culture change, this change management of, particularly with EdTech, where teachers are hesitant not to know everything, and creating this culture that it's okay to fail, it's okay to create this community of learners, it's okay to learn from your students and them to learn from you, I think is a really important culture change. And if you can help us understand how to actually do that, that would be fantastic. Sabrina, over to you for your final reflections.
I think you all said many what I was thinking about, but just to say that take risks, try to to understand fails and mistakes as part of the process. It's everything, okay, as Robert said. And innovation is all about understanding that fail is part. It's part. We are waiting to fail as fast as possible. Then we would be able to learn and to share more experiences with my colleagues and also with my students. That's it. I think that's it.
Sabrina, thanks so much. Sabrina, Francisca, Jose, Naja, you guys are truly inspiring. And I'd like to thank you all for your time and your contribution to this discussion. I think if you can help us think about kind of your lessons learned on how to replicate what you have done in your classrooms, it would be a huge step forward for many of the schools that we work with around the world. So once again, thank you very much for your time in this conversation. And this has, I think, set a great framework for our next discussion, which Jaime Saavedra will be moderating in looking at how to translate some of these ideas that you've shared into actual policy and changes in teacher professional development and really teacher culture in a number of the countries we work in. So let me stop there and hand the floor back over to the moderator. But thank you all very much.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever people are. This is Jaime Saavedra. I'm the Global Director for Education at the World Bank. And I want to first thank you for a great session, Bob. I think it was a great discussion that is related to the current challenge that we have of having to balance in our education systems how to use technology in a more efficient and an impactful way, with the fact that everything is about the human factor. Everything is about balancing teachers with technology, the art of balancing the use of more sophisticated digital tools with the fact that at the end of the day, everything in education is about people. So fantastic examples on the ground of that, of how we're dealing with that challenge. So now I am accompanied by a fantastic panel. Let me mention the four people that we have here with us now. It's Minister of Education of El Salvador, Dr. Jose Mauricio Pineda. We have also Dr. Tarek Alaune, who is the representative of the Ministry of Education of Palestine, who is attending on behalf of the Minister of Education, Dr. Marwan Awartani, who was not able to be with us today. And then we have my two colleagues of the World Bank, Emanuela Di Gropello. She is our manager for all our operations and education in Latin America and the Caribbean. And Andreas Blom. And Andreas manages the World Bank operations and analytical work as well in education in the Middle East and North Africa. So I would like to start. Let me see. Let me start first with Minister Pineda. Minister. Let me put a question in front of you. But before doing that, I mean, before we move on into our discussion, we'd like to let our audience know that we'll be receiving questions for our panelists through our social channels. and address those during a Q&A at the end of the session. So feel free to send along any questions you might have, and we'll respond to those during the last 15 minutes of our conversation. So, but I have on the screen Minister Pineda. So let me start with you, man. And my first question is basically, what are the takeaways that you have from this first panel that Bob was moderating? What do you find interesting, and there's some things that you could apply in your country in El Salvador?
Thank you, Jaime. Good evening, good morning, and good night to everybody connected in this session. I want to say hello to the rest of my colleagues in the panel at the same time. Well, it was a really powerful intervention, the first panel that we just saw. I would like to start this saying that the education goes as far as our so that is something that I would like to underline. We believe in El Salvador that the rest of countries in the SICA region, those who choose to be teachers, have answered a very special calling, initial inspiration that unfortunately tapers off for different reasons. But nevertheless, society is still recognizing that this profession is valuable, and a good deal of what we decision makers have to do. Those of us responsible for education systems is to encourage, appeal to that original calling. It is to restore a teacher appreciation for their own professions, to show them in a very possible way our gratitude for their hard and noble work. It is entirely clear to us that the transformation that takes place in the classroom happens as a result of encouraging, acknowledging, and motivating our teachers. In my view, that feeling is triggered, and it also triggered a significant change in our Salvadoran teachers' frames of mind, and that happened during the pandemic. And I would like to thanks public to all of our teachers. They took on the whole challenge of educational continuity. They show that they care of their students. We, as a ministry, understand that our task was to provide them with tools, but also care for the health of each one of our teachers and accompany them under the very hard and difficult circumstances that they have to live. Well, the whole humanity have to live. Our teachers put the add value in an educational transformation that came together at a critical moment, and like any change, emerged from a crisis that put society commitment to the test. But above all, they're calling us educators. This ministry leveraged the teachers' love and drive and conviction, caring for their health, ensuring their safety, generating quality institutional materials, and acknowledging that they are the engines behind the educational transformation. We strongly believe and work in that direction. The good relationship with the teachers is ongoing. We encourage voluntary retirement process with incentives for those who already have long track records at the head of the classroom. And we engage a new generation of young people who were waiting for the turn and who graduated just before the pandemic began. They and all the rest of the teachers are still encouraged because the ministry gave them a chance. It listened to them. The greatest challenge for those or for us is to keep up this commitment and this trust in the institution, which is our great support and backer. That is what I would like to address and to say. And also, Jaime, thanks the previous panel for very powerful and a learning conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Pineda, and thank you very much for putting teachers front and center in the discussion about how to improve the quality of our education systems. So let me go to Mr. Olaune with the same question. What have you find interesting in the previous panel, and that you can apply to the reality of Palestine?
Well, thank you very much, and it is always my honor to be here, take part in this discussion on behalf of His Excellency Dr. Marwan Awartani, Minister of Education in Palestine. What I found really interesting is how challenges are really changed into opportunities here regarding different teachers who have actually talked about their experience and the challenges they faced here, because they found their own ways also on dealing and on solving problems regarding what Sabrina said in Brazil, the pedagogical skills, connectivity, children sharing the cell phone with their families, and also different situations, number of the students in the classroom, etc. So all these things, such problems are shared among different classes, different schools around the world. So here in Palestine, we facing a lot of opportunities, daily opportunities in different regions and in different governorates and the schools. So it is important that we focus also on the experiences of teachers in using technology here in Palestine and also in other parts of the world, and the experiences we have just here to listen to actually strengthen and focus on this point, how technology can be a solution for different problems regarding using platforms, educational platforms for students, which all, of course, lead to activate the students and emphasize on the learning and teaching, of course, outcomes. This is an improvement for learning and teaching outcomes. The application of technology is also increases the students' connectivity to the and attachment, of course, to the learning materials. So positively, we can regard the experiences we have listened to as being an important step towards leading a good learning and teaching atmosphere for students. It is important that in different situations, in current situations nowadays we're facing in Palestine, in Gaza Strip and in the West Bank, while students going to their classes, it is important that we focus also on how such problems can be faced, how challenges can be also faced, in order to develop the technology abilities of the students. And this is a challenge, and also to the teachers. We have had a lot of in Palestine, we have had a lot of developments in the use of technology so far, regarding training teachers and training students in various fields, which is including the Outlook, including the Teams, including also school environment, administrative and technical work in the school, an e-learning environment, and also that includes educational materials, videos, tasks, and of course communication mechanisms that has been introduced for students, teachers, and parents, and the school the school staff as well. So yes, we actually I was actually touched by what the teachers have just mentioned. And of course, I found what they said is relatively close to the challenges that we face in. But among such challenges, we also find our ways to share success with different teachers in the world, and especially the teachers we have just listened to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alaune. And it's very interesting how you has guided through a tour of the different possible uses of technology in the education system, from scaling up support to teachers and teachers' professional development, to better uses in the classroom for personalized learning and using different e-learning tools, and also as a platform to manage better the education system. So it's a plethora of different possible uses, and Palestine is a very interesting example. Let me now move to invite Emanuela. Emanuela, you are overseeing the World Bank Education region, and it would be great if you could share with us key initiatives that you would like to that you can highlight in terms of the best use of technology in order to support the work of teachers in the region. Over to you.
Many thanks, Jaime, and it's a pleasure to be in this panel. Really cheers to you, to Minister Pineda, to Director General Alouane. Hi, Andrea. So it's a pleasure to be here. So on our side, in LAC, we certainly have quite a few examples of effective use of technology to support teachers in teaching. And maybe I can just quickly mention, 2 or 3 initiatives, which are my focus on technical vocational education, rural-urban divide, and also teaching at the right level, as example. So first of all, for instance, in partnership with Korea, we have been developing with Ecuador and actually the Eastern Caribbean country a system of virtual lab, so in auto mechanics and the blue economy. So basically what this means is that we have been working in developing virtual curriculum which are completely immersive for students. And those virtual curriculums can actually play a very important role in teaching those practical skills in virtual context, which can make it easier and even more effective. And they constitute, therefore, a very useful tool for teachers who are trying to teach the student those practical skills, right, in specific technical area. In this case, we're speaking, for instance, about blue economy, fishery, and auto mechanics. If well used, those virtual lab, virtual curriculum can actually be very useful. Obviously, teachers need to be trained to use those technology, and they also need to change the pedagogy, because those curriculum are much more student-centered. And therefore, to do that, we have also organized trainings with Korea. So professors of the Caribbean are currently being sent to the Nasmul University in Korea to being trained for several months to be able to use those virtual labs. So that's one example. But we have other examples, for instance, of effective use of technology to support teacher in teachings. For instance, in Guyana, we are supporting the country to develop smart classrooms in the hinterland, which do include not only smart board compatible with tablets, but also the latest in terms of video conference facility to be able to connect teachers who live on the coast with teachers in the hinterland. So that, and through this twinning arrangement, basically bring the best teachers, the best teaching to schools in the hinterland who would otherwise not have access to those teachers, to that teaching. So we call them twinning arrangements. And again, they allow really the best teacher and teaching to be brought to basically students in more remote area. So this is another example where technology can be used to actually address the teacher-teaching gap, if you will, between urban and rural area, between most advantaged and disadvantaged area. still in Guyana, but also in Ecuador and in Dominican Republic, we have also been working on developing adaptive softwares, especially in math, which help tailor instruction to the level of each student. For instance, in Guyana, we have done that using the Calibri software on tablets. In Ecuador, we are doing it using the Alex software. And what this software do, as I've said, is really provide that additional exposure, those additional exercise, that additional training to students to be able to really improve really on the level they are currently at. They are also very useful tools, if well used, for teachers, because we are really struggling currently to get teachers teach to the right level. In particular, in the post-pandemic, we are noticing that kids are going back to the classroom with so many differentiated levels of learning. In that context, an effective use of those adaptive software can really help teachers tremendously to, as I say, teach to the right level. They have to be seen as a complement. They're obviously not replacing what teachers are doing in the classroom, but as a complement, they can really help achieve those better levels, in particular for students who maybe have fallen a little bit behind. So I'm stopping here because I think I'm already beyond my time. I just wanted to give 3 examples of technological tools who, if well used, can actually help teachers make a better job, for instance, teacher vocational education across urban rural area and in terms of teaching at the right level.
Thank you very much, Emanuela. The last example that you were mentioning of using adaptive software to make sure that the teacher can give an experience that is more personalized and also moving at the level where the student is even if this was available a couple of years or 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, it's one version in which when improved, also is an example of adaptive artificial intelligence that can be used in the classroom in order to improve the experience and to facilitate and make more effective the use of the work of the teacher. Let me go now to Andreas, and basically with the same question, but from the perspective of our experiences in Middle East and in North Africa. What are interesting experiences that you can share with us, Andreas?
Thank you, Jaime, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. I want to relate to a number of the points that was in the previous panel from the teachers and the same different examples, but same direction as Emanuela talked about technology that can teach to the level of the individual student, and that have the resources to empower the teacher. And I think it's a fascinating possibilities that we see with education technology in nowadays. And we really need to make sure that technology helps teachers teach in a more engaging way, with more exciting resources. And we know that what this will lead to more learning from each of the students. I have 2 examples that I would like to give. One of them is Djibouti, where the World Bank, together with the Global Partnership for Education and, of course, the teachers and educators in Djibouti, have distributed 10,000 tablets. And we are using them first as basic readers, but with the possibility of tablets having many more books that talk to each of the students. I know from my own family that I have a boy that's very interested in football. He doesn't want to read about fiction, but football he'll read about, so I can make him read about that. I have another one that wants to read about science fiction. So we don't need to ship all these books to each of the schools. We have the tablet that can have all those books and learning resources, and we can have them at different level so that they can find a reader that actually matches their level, that they can understand, and through that advance. So I think for me that's a very good teaching at the right level and at the right interest of the student. We also have some literacy games on it. I think gamification of education is a wonderful tool to engage kids in learning. It can both be on math, simple math games like 2 + 2, 2 + 3, and then each student gets a little bit of points to play a game. And I know it motivates students. And it can also be used for teachers to say, well, now the student has completed his or her task. He or she can go and sit at another table and play with the tablet and still be engaged and still learn. So I think those tablets are, if used well, can really be enhancing learning. Next step we would like to move on in Djibouti would be using the tablets as classroom-based assessments, so that the teacher can get a standardized approach to testing, for example, letter recognition, syllable reading, in different languages, and get that automatically done. So that's one example. A second example I wanted to give was the Egyptian Knowledge Bank. It's a huge system of e-resources, both international but also in Egypt. And what's interesting is that each of the resources are mapped to specific modules with each subject within each grade, which makes it easier for the teacher to navigate and say, well, now I would like to have something about atoms in physics for 7th grade. And here I have one little video that talks about oxygen molecules in that fits exactly my module in the curriculum. And at the same time, it's not just international videos and learning and explanatory notes, but it's also students that have access to the Egyptian Knowledge Bank and that can download teachers that have Egyptian teachers that have recorded themselves and put them up, and they have been approved by the ministry and put up in special elements of the curriculum, so that teachers and students can say, well, I want to hear about this one more time. Can I go in and listen to it? And then it's available right there. And of course, it goes together with a massive investment in connectivity. They have connected 1,500 secondary schools so that students and teachers have access to it. Those are two examples from the MENA region. There are a number of other examples. I think what we do in the World Bank is really trying to push use of new technology to help teachers. And we'll continue doing it. I think it's very worthwhile. And as the minister just mentioned, it's very critical that we support teachers to keep them motivated. It's a fantastic profession that they have. Thank you to all the teachers.
Thank you very much, Andreas, and thanks for the last point, and for this example in which, I mean, it also shows the need to have a complete ecosystem that can support teachers. You need the tablets, but you need the right software. You need the connectivity. You need the teachers that are trained and motivated. So actually, it's a complex investment, but well done can have a huge impact in our education process, the education process of our kids. Let me now turn again to Minister. And we like to ask you if you could share any experiences of technology that are prevalent at this moment in and outside the classrooms in El Salvador. I mean, what specific any examples that you can give us of efforts that have been in place to support teachers with the use of technology in El Salvador?
Thank you, Jaime, again for the opportunity of share of what are we doing in El Salvador. Well, in El Salvador, it's aimed to build a pedagogical ecosystem where technology becomes an accelerator of education transformations, and a platform used for education processes like those promoted by, like, for example, Sunset, a project that we are working together with the World Bank, with the transformation of literacy practices. Let me share with you the vision of our government of El Salvador has in this regard. President Bukele is determined to transform the country modernizing political system and the entire institutional framework of the state. By this means, taking full advantage of the benefits of technology, of course. One of the great tasks that the state has set out to do is the technological literacy of the whole populations. In this sense, the first things I should share with you is that the technological transformation of the educational system is part of a policy with a claim to universality based on inclusion. The education sector is certainly key in this modernization process, of course. And that is why, from the beginning, this administration increased government investment in education from 3.2 up to 5.1% of the GDP. This happened when we were in the middle of a pandemic, and after that, in the middle of a crisis, economical crisis that we are experiencing still now. The President of the Republic and the Ministry of Education set out to ensure that all students and teachers had technological equipment, and this tool should be integrated into the learning process at the school and also at home. Today, we can proudly say that we have accomplished this. It is also essential for the entire educational community to have universal access to the internet, as well as quality educational materials that promote interactive and dynamic learning that are integrated and provide a new learning experiences. However, all these efforts to innovate and to introduce technologies needs to be matched by an equally massive effort to make our teachers and students increasingly self-reliant and critical agents who are able to choose appropriate information and to turn the online space into a place of learning. From this perspective, I will say that digital transformation of education and the accelerated introduction of technology, it is a process that is very linked to the economic, social, and political dynamics. For these reasons, we are not going to stop at simply providing technological equipment. Instead, we will double down on building citizens' competencies in order to ensure that are up to the challenges in this technological evolution. We in the educational system are all aware that along with the process of enabling digital competencies comes the task of defining how those new competencies respond to an economic development model, and consequently, the way that we impact social justice, the distribution of goods, and the struggle against inequities. That is why the education system is so important in social appropriation of technology, because it connects to the task of developing the economic, political, and cultural sectors. Along these lines, we would like to underline that we are clear about our task and what that task is. In El Salvador, we are concerned that digitalization might end up about what it define the introduction of new devices in the classroom, and not by a profound pedagogical reflection. We consider that aside from being technological, the digital transformation must be first pedagogical. In 2020, in the middle of a pandemic crisis, we rely on a strategy to introduce the use of Google Classroom platform that enable us to serve 90% of our teachers, along with the development of our own educational materials and delivery of technological equipment and connectivity. This way, we started an accelerated reduction of the technological gap with our teachers, and we're currently about to achieve the goal whereby all students have their own equipment and connectivity, with the largest investment in the history in El Salvador over a very short period of time. This allows us to look forward new heights and leveraging the technologies, introducing immersion technology, improving our materials with transmedia strategies, or thinking about a way of artificial intelligence could be used. We are aware that it is still a long road ahead, but we have a solid technological and social foundation because our people, our students and teachers, are already installed in a process that they are not going to forgo. The ministry is obliged to keep pace with the transformation that the universalization of the use of technology will bring about. Again, I really appreciate the time and the opportunity to share what we are doing in El Salvador. Thanks, Jaime.
Thank you
Over
very
to you.
much. Thank you very much, Minister, and thanks for giving the broad picture in which way technology actually is part of the whole social, political, and development process of the country. But let me now. We only have 12 minutes to go, so I would like to go to Mr. Alaune, and would like to ask you if you could share with us a little bit more about the initiative Seratak in Palestine. I mean, this effort by the ministry to push forward technology, the use of technology for math learning and to support, provide better support to teachers. If you could give us a quick picture about how is that initiative making progress, will be great. Over to you, Mr. Alaune.
Yes. Once again, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Indeed, since the appearance of the COVID-19, we have had a lot of innovations regarding the use of technology in the educational process in Palestine. Here we have trained at the very beginning of the COVID-19. We have trained about 43,000 teachers on using Teams platforms. So using Teams platforms, and before that, including also Zoom platform as well. And a lot of teachers, such teachers, the 43,000 teachers were also trained on instructional design courses, which enables, of course, teachers to build electronic and educational content of their own, of course, depending on the curriculum itself. So, from this side, from this side part, actually, we started our journey towards using technology, and it was really a challenging start for us, since it was the beginning of a new era of using, actual technology in the classroom. Though we have had some experiences in the past before that, but the challenge of COVID-19, have its own way on doing so. Filming classes and uploading YouTube websites was also, were also one of the milestones we tried during that period, and up to now, launching the satellite, which was a very important actually event in Palestine, which is launching a Palestine TV, which broadcasting video lessons and also interactive lessons. Nowadays, we are working on teachers are working on interactive lessons, where students and teachers can meet on TV through phone calls or through some messages, through of course social websites. They can send their questions, and teachers can answer the students as well on the questions they answer the question. the ask, and the adoption of the Ministry of Education of different platforms in order to enable the communication between components of the educational community, including including school principals, teachers, and also parents, supervisors, and also from between. This is what we call the e-school platform. Schools were prepared also for uploading different teaching and educational and learning videos. The supervisors also were trained on using computerizing and computerizing the supervisory and the supervision process, like making marks for students, electronic supervision, reports of supervisory visits, and also supervisory methods, electronic preparation. Using the latest contemporary also technologies such as smartphones, applications, internet systems, and short messages for students and for parents, for teachers as well. Access to marginalized areas, rural areas, and also maybe schools that are in that are located in marginalized areas. We provided them during that period, and nowadays we are still focusing on them with providing them with tablets for students with the educational material on the tablets themselves. So school management systems also regarding the process automation, and also the electronic approvals of self services like marks, certificates, schedules, preparation of like assignments, questionnaires, advertisements are also included in this whole use of technology system in the classroom, and in the comprehensive reports and also statistics being delivered and prepared electronically. Integration of data, and here concerning the integration of data among the different ministries to enable the use, or to enable the access to different students regarding the what we call providing interfaces for people with special needs. And caring about people with special needs, to facilitate the task of completing, of course, their use of special technologies, which are important for them to learn. So here, regarding the dashboard, we are using nowadays dashboards for to give, detailed reports on daily processes, educational processes, which are important, of course, for decision makers at the level of the ministry and also the directorates of education, regarding absentee students, absentees, and dropouts if there are any. But here nowadays, the parent can know where his student is. A message is delivered from the minister, from the school, maybe principal or vice principal to the parent if the student is absent on a daily basis. So this is something important to know exactly, and to let the parents be in touch with what exactly goes on in the educational process and the situation of course their students. Regarding the digital educational development, here we have computerized. Nowadays we have computerized this. We have homeworks also are computerized. Different tasks, educational tasks, are computerized through the e-school system. Every student nowadays, has an access to the e-school system. Imagine 1 million students have an access to the e-school system, where they can also do their tasks, homeworks, etc. Different videos, special videos, researches on digital transformation, missions for students, papers to do, in addition also to different initiatives that are done by students. Nowadays, every teacher is also has also being trained on how to use technology in the classroom. But nowadays also in this regard, we have initiatives also in which students, teachers started to compete on how to actively integrate the students in the educational process. This is a lot of success stories have been registered and have been done. I mean, just one last point here. People nowadays do not need to go to school in order to register their first graders in the classroom. Nowadays, they register them online through the e-school system. Nowadays, are classes that are launched through the educational satellite channel are also do also give services to students while being at home in different regions. So the development of the use of technology is still going on, and we are also from different experiences around the world in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So for that tour de force on what's happening in Palestine, we're running out of time, so I would like to give 30 seconds literally to Andreas and Emanuela. And one thought about the hype, all the hype that we have now because of ChatGPT, about the use of artificial intelligence. A final thought from your side about if this is an equalizer, and an equalizer has the potential to improve quality, to improve the work of teachers. A final thought on the use of artificial intelligence, Emanuela, and then Andreas.
Look, my view, Jaime, on that is that it's, but again, quite an informed view, I have to say, is that it's another tool that we have that, if well used, can obviously have high potential, right, to make us gain time, help with structured thoughts. But we need to be careful, obviously, because in a context where over 50% of the kids cannot properly read, but when they are 10. Obviously, giving them such a tool could lead, could be unhelpful. So again, it's a tool. It needs to be well used and used at the appropriate time as well. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much, Emanuela. 30 seconds, Andreas.
Yes, I think we're already using AI in education. We have it in adaptive learning. We have it in adaptive assessments. So we are using artificial intelligence. As Emanuela is saying, we need to make sure that humans learn block by block, step by step. Just because we have a calculator doesn't mean that we shouldn't know what 5 times 5 is. We have to go through that step, and hopefully we can be smarter and use ChatGPT and other AI tools to the benefit of humankind. But it is a challenge for all of us. Let's see what happens. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Andreas. Wise words. This technology has a fantastic potential. Technology could be an incredible equalizer of opportunities, but if not well used, or we don't equip our young people with the foundational skills that needed, they will not be able to use technology at its fullest, and will be an unequalizer if we don't use it well. So thank you very much to our 4 panelists for this discussion. It has been super informative, this panel and the previous panel headed by chaired by Bob. Now let me turn on to the moderator at terminal to turn on to Vikas. Please, Vikas, the floor is yours.
morning from London, everyone. My name is Vikas Pota. I'm the founder and CEO of T4. You know, we started the Teacher Tech Summit 3 years ago at the height of the pandemic to help our friends, our teachers, incorporate tech and tools in their practice. At that time, it felt that there was a massive gap that existed. You know, ministries of education were scrambling to figure out what to do. Teachers were feeling a little bit lost. We were all on these online platforms. And what we brought together were a tremendous amount of teachers who were excited about the potential of technology, as opposed to the narrative that is often built as teachers being obstacles in the adoption of technology. Teachers were at the forefront and fighting the good fight and doing the best for their students as much as they could during these very challenging times. So what we've done over the last 3 years, and this is our third summit, is we've evolved. The first summit was just a series of short masterclasses. The second summit last year was actually not just masterclasses for 2 hours. It was actually a 2-day-long bonanza, which incorporated teacher masterclasses, but also had, you know, ministries of education. We had tech companies. We had policymakers. And this year, what we've done is we've had a series of regional summits. We've had a global showcase. So the regional summits have included, actually today you've seen the conclusion of the Middle Eastern Summit, which was entirely in Arabic, a first for us. We've also had one for Latin America in Spanish. We've also had one in Portuguese, predominantly for our Brazilian participation. And then we also had one in North America, which was in American English. And so without further ado, I want to invite my friends and our co-hosts of the Teacher Tech Summit for the past 2 years to our screen, because I definitely want to take this opportunity to thank them. Please re-invite and re-welcome Jaime Saavedra of the World Bank. Jaime, welcome.
Hi, Vikas.
And we also have Amit Patel from Owl Ventures. Amit, welcome. I should mention, Amit, Owl Ventures is the largest edtech venture capital fund in the world. You are the managing partner of it. And you actually hosted something called EdTech Insights that kicked us off at the beginning of this series, with bringing the most incredible innovators from startup world to actually tell us about what's coming down the pipe with regards to technology. Amit, can you tell us a little bit about your reflections on the Teacher Tech Summit and your motivation in actually taking part?
Yeah, well, first of all, Vikas, just want to say thank you for allowing Owl to be a part of this. We were honored. This has been an absolute fantastic set of summits. And, I would say the biggest reason for us is it's a few of them, actually. So the first reason why we are really excited is just this incredible community that kind of gets together over the course of this event, right? A lot of times there will be kind of silos of work that gets done in this industry, and the ability to bring together, as you just highlighted, policymakers, edtech founders, educators, administrators, and this entire ecosystem of folks together to actually talk to one another, to understand what's going on. Like, we need that type of dialogue to be happening on a continuous basis to really understand what are the most pressing problems for us to solve, what are those solutions that are coming to market, and how can we work together to make that happen as fast as possible. So I'd say first and foremost, that was our motivation for being a part of this. The second is the global nature of this, right? I think the fact that kind of access to great education isn't limited to a certain country or a certain aspect of the world, right? And so the need for this is coming from all over the world. And similarly, we believe the solutions for this is going to come from all over the world as well, too, right? That innovation isn't going to come just from one country or just from one place. And then the final thing is, I think throughout this conference, from the first panels that we hosted to all the way to that last panel, right? Like AI and kind of some of these latest innovations are just coming at us so quickly. And we all need to work together to understand, how are we responding in real time? What are kind of the guardrails that we're putting into place? How are we interacting with this technology? And how do we as a community kind of come up with the best ways to incorporate that into our education system? So I think for all those reasons, we are excited to be a part of this conference. And once again, thank you again for inviting us to be a co-host here.
Not at all. Thank you, Amit, for those kind words. And before I bring Jaime back on, I want to give you a voice of respite. You just moderate a panel, Jaime. I want to bring on my friend Osama Obidat from the Queen Rania Teaching Academy. Osama, thank you so much for this amazing effort that you and your team put in today. It's a great example of what is possible. Jaime, Ahmet, and all those that are watching, you should know that Osama's team at QRTA, there's a phrase, knocked it out of the park today. And I know I can see backstage our other regional partners. I'm not looking at you, but QRTA, drove over 10,000 registrations from the Middle East to attend our Arabic event. Now, Osama, you are the Chief Executive of the Queen Rania Teacher Academy in Jordan. What has been your motivation and what have been your highlights in this summit?
Thank you, Vikas. I'm glad to be with you. And in fact, I think the latest numbers showed that around 12,000 registered for the forum.
There's no need to show off. There's no need to show
off. It was a great event. I mean, again, doing this in Arabic for the first time in the region and leading this and bringing all teachers and educators was great motive for all of us. I mean, the trust in QRTA is very evident. I think, compared to other countries, we received more than 400 videos from 18 countries in the region. You can see almost all Arab countries with the exception of a couple of them. And it took us, again, the tremendous effort that was put by the team to be able to select the final 15 videos was great. And the diversity in the videos, the motivation. I mean, again, one of the striking things is the motivation of the teachers to create all of these, to solve their daily issues, to improve the learning of their students, or to improve some activities at the school level, or sometimes even to be replicated and scaled up at the system level. All of these were great. I mean, watching these videos make me feel happy about it. Creating this community of a practice among educators in the region was great. Teachers trust teachers, and that's why we said this is from teachers for teachers, and this is also always a motive for QRTA, and this is what we continue to do in all our forums, activities, etc. We want to make sure, as we did in this event, that everything we present is relevant to the teachers, and teachers can easily relate. They were happy to see that some teachers in Egypt talk about safety of students. Someone in Jordan talks about e-assessment. Another one talk about creating digital content. All this, the diversity in the content, and using it in planning, solving gain issues related to student safety was great, and we're very much happy. And I'll take this opportunity, because again, as you said, to say thank you to my team. They did all the effort. I'm currently in Cairo, enjoying my time there, but they did all the work there.
Osama, you'll laugh because when they broke the 10,000 mark, I said I'd buy them dinner next time I'm in Jordan. So you can be assured of that. Actually, the reason why Owl Ventures and partners like the QRTA are here are partly a reason of the challenge that Jaime set me once, which is we have to bridge these gaps, these silos, and to make sure that we speak. In that regard, Jaime, what do you think the legacy of the Teacher Tech Summits is?
So look, I think it allows us to provide teachers at the same time with the support that they need and the autonomy that they must have in the classroom. We say, on one hand, teachers must be accountable, right? Because they have a gigantic responsibility of making the experience in the classroom enjoyable, and through that, making sure that kids get the tools that they need for life. So they must be accountable to society. That's a huge responsibility they have. But to be able to do that, they need two things. They need support, right? And the support comes from all the technological tools that are used by all teachers at the same time, and one can learn from each other. But then having all those tools at their disposal, available to them, being used by different teachers and learning from different teachers, then allow them to have the autonomy that they need in the classroom, using different different tools and applying them in the right way at the right moment that they need. And why do I say that teachers need to have a lot of autonomy in the classroom? Because the service that they have to provide is very complicated. It's not like if they were healthcare workers that will be applying a vaccine. What we want them is to follow a very detailed protocol, and the closest they are to the protocol, the better, right? And then we'll be successfully delivering the vaccine. In the case of providing the education service, there's no protocol, because this is humans interacting with humans, right? And each child is different. It will have a different speed, a different preferences, different styles of learning, etc. So then there's no protocol, right? There is an experience, and the teacher has to make sure that it's given to each student the experience and the support they need. And for that, we need to just give teachers a lot of tools, right? And technology can provide a lot of tools. I mean, being able to interact with a lot of other teachers will give them the possibility of making sure that, oh, yes, he's using this tool this way, she's using this tool this way, I can use it this way. So it's a perfect combination of giving a lot of support to teachers, right? Using technology as a huge leverage to the work that they do, and at the same time giving them the autonomy to apply those tools in the right way in the classroom.
Jaime,
so sorry for the long answer, but that's for me the legacy, right, of this experience, of this platform.
Absolutely. I fully sign up to what you said, as I always do, by the way. But the thing that I would love a comment from you on is the importance of culture, actually school culture, when it comes to the adoption and use of technology in particular. But can you give us maybe a soundbite on the importance of positive school culture in this regard?
So my sense is that we need a change in mindsets in schools, right? It's a change in mindsets in which the school is a space of permanent learning of both students and teachers, right? And of the institution, of the school institution as a whole, right? I mean, and that's the mindset that we need to have. It's a mindset in which the institution knows that the main objective is to make sure that kids have the right experience, which sounds obvious, but it's not the case, right? It's many schools in which some teachers go and think that that's a job, right? No, I mean it's a very complicated job. It's about the experience of children or young people. But for that experience to be positive, it has to be a permanent learning experience of absolutely everyone. Learning experience for the institution, for the teacher, for the principal, for the student.
Well, Jaime and Amit in particular, I want to say thank you to you for being a co-host from last year. You know that you give us so much confidence when it comes to this subject, whether it's on the policy front, whether it's on the innovation front. Please know that you have our entire thanks and gratitude for your partnership. Thank you so much. And Osama, you guys need a rest. You can put your feet up in Egypt, but your team definitely will be taking tonight off. But I want to say thank you to all three of you for participating. Once again, please know that you have our heartfelt gratitude. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you, Vika, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. And so, my friends, we now go ahead and we talk to some more of our friends who are here from around the world, our other regional co-hosts who are equally important and have done an incredible job. So please invite Anna from Nova Escola in Brazil, Chaula from Digital Promise in the US, and Veronica from Eliga Educa in Chile, who led the Latin American Summit. And I want to start by congratulating Veronica. This is the first time we're actually talking because she has just been appointed as the executive director of Eliga Educa in Chile. So Veronica, thank you so much for participating today, but thank you and your colleagues for leading from the front when it came to our event in Latin America, Spanish speaking.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. And I have been behind Eligeucar for 14 years. Yes. I'm co-founder of Eligeucar, and I'm so glad that I had the chance to step in the organization. So thank you.
As we would say, you're now in the driving seat, Veronica. Thank you so much for that. Veronica, in terms of the event that we had in Latin America, can you tell us what your highlights were?
Yes, well, this is the first time in Latin America. We had around 60 applications throughout whole Latin America, from Chile, Colombia, Argentina, and really the whole region. I would say that the first highlight is that first, that we see that teachers are innovating. It's not something, of course, new. It's something that's there, and they need more inspiration. They need more people to, okay, that's innovation, technology, but how it looks, so we need more experiences to share, and they say, okay, I can do that, I can do the same. So we read the comments, and they were like, okay, I'm gonna try this, maybe a small piece. So that's the first learning, we need more of this around our region to inspire. And the second learning that I think is very important is that we need to do this not by ourselves, but we need alliances, public and private. So we joined with the Ministry of Education of Chile, with a Center of Innovation from the ministry, and they in partnership with this, and also with other organizations, NGOs from the region, like Fundación Coppel in Mexico, Google for Education, Fundación Siemens, Siemens Stiftung. So we need to move this in partnership with others, because it's a big challenge, Teachers do not really like to share their work as themselves, They like to share their work as a community. So they feel a bit of shame, why me? So it's important to push it as a whole system. I will stop here, to listen to the others, but I would love to respond to the next question.
I'm going to stick to the region, and I'm going to go to Anna. Anna and the Nova Escola team did something that no one else did. Let's be clear. They had a fantastic singer in the Teacher Tech Summit that brought the house down. Anna, tell us about your highlights about the Teacher Tech Summit in Brazil.
Yeah, hi, Vikas. Again, thank you for calling Nova Escola to be a co-host of the event this year. And we were very glad to participate, because Nova Escola believes a lot that the teachers empowered can transform education. And we try to give them tools, information, courses that can empower them. But we think that sharing good practices between them is something very, very rich for them. And this is something that was a highlight for us at the event, because we could see teachers sharing what they did. And like Veronica said, a lot of them didn't think that what they did was something to share. But then when they looked back and saw the results they had and how they could do things, simple things, but that could really improve learning from the students, they started really believing that they did a very good job. And then we saw the comments during the event, and we saw that everyone was engaging and everyone was feeling inspired by those practices. And people were saying like, oh, I think I should try that as well. And everyone commenting were glad, because we chose free tools that they could easily apply at their schools. And this was a challenge for us to think like, oh, okay, but to take innovation to a public school in Brazil, that's not very easy. But then when we saw them engaging and saying, okay, I think I can do that, I would try to do that, and even like, I'm gonna try to participate in the next event, this was something that was a huge highlight for us. That the teachers, they want to share and they want to talk about what they're doing, talk about their challenges. And I think this was a highlight. And of course, the music at the end was something very important to close the event with that warming feeling that everyone should leave. And that was really good for us.
Fantastic. And Chola, when I, Digital Promise, it was it's the first time when we had our conversation, I remember, we said, we're thinking about this, and you jumped at it and said, we want to do it in North America, or in America in particular. And did it meet your expectations? What was the impact of the event on your ecosystem? We'd love to hear.
Yeah, well, I was feeling pretty good about the event until 5 minutes ago. Very proud of our 1,200 registrants until you drop the QRTA stats. So I will be having a chat with our team after this. But I think two things really stood out for us. One was we're a large organization. We work with a lot of educators in very different ways and across lots of different teams. And this was an opportunity for us to collaborate across the organization, bring all of those educator voices. Some of them have served as feedback givers. Some of them are in districts where we work, but to really pull all of them and say, tell us what's working for you. Tell us, why you like something, and to hear it in their own words was really powerful for us as an organization as a whole. And I think the second piece was the global aspect of it. I was stunned, and so was my team when we logged on to the event. And because you started reading off all the countries where people were from, we were not expecting that sort of a global audience. But as an organization that we're called Digital Promise Global, but our work has mostly focused in the US. This was a fantastic opportunity for us to join colleagues on the global stage. So I think that has been a big impact for us. And we're already starting to think about how do we do this next year, and which other, can we combine this with other events? And there's a lot of energy and excitement around it.
What was really interesting to me was we'd speak about America in particular as being this technological giant, and it is. And I think the role that the American Summit played, and what you played, Chola, was immeasurably just enhancing the entire series. Because when we talk about the use of tech and tools, the reason why there was so much interest in what was happening is because of this great reputation that America has on innovation. And I know that there were spin-offs in terms of in all the regional summits as to what had happened as a result of the summit in the US. And so please know that you have my deepest thanks, and our teams, and I'm sure everyone's, for participating. And in a similar way, Veronica and Anna, your countries and your regions, your overall region is so important. And we felt that we wanted to make this accessible, and that's why we partnered with great institutions like yours. And without you, we wouldn't be, at all be able to talk about legacy or impact. And so I'm really, really grateful to you. The challenge that was thrown down to us at the beginning when we started was, well, the content isn't very relevant because it's not in it's not in our local language, it's not in our local time zone, and it's not with our teachers. And so you bring it closer to home and look at the magic that can happen. And so on that note, please know, just like I said to the previous panel, thank you so much. Please know that we are truly indebted. And in T4, you have friends that you can call in favors from, and we're happy to help. But thank you so much once again. Do you have a final word, Veronica, Chola, and Anna? Let's go to that. I'll go to Veronica first. Do you have a final word for everyone?
Final word. So maybe the next challenge, okay? Because I'm looking forward to it. So, we are inspired about all this innovation process and how, the same as Jaime was saying, we have to get this installed as a mentality, as a permanent learning experience, not only as just 1 month or 2 month processes. So because we see that this has a lot of impact, in the social emotional learning of teachers also, of the retention, in diminishing, the absences of teachers in schools, and their happiness, the increasing motivation. So we're working on that, how we could make from this a whole year process, and at the same time contribute to our mission in Eligiuca, that is related to improve the social evaluation of teachers, and also, about the opportunities to grow in their own careers. So that's one. And the second one, of course, I had to just thank all my team, my team in Eligiuca, because they really, really work hard collecting all the, we are far away from Colombia. So making those videos from, a couple of slides and images, and they make amazing videos, like 15 alliances to do this in a very short term, and during the summer, from our summer in January. So I would like to take this chance to also thank my team, and of course, because your team and T4 for inviting us and letting me be co-host.
Fantastic. Anna. Anna, do you have a final word?
Yeah, I would just want us to all to keep on doing this, giving teachers voice and see how they can inspire each other. I think this is a work that continues on. This to us was just the start. And it's good to see how the innovation and digital tools have this power to transform education. And I think it was just something to give us a bit more power to keep on going with what the actions we're doing.
And Chawla, you have the final word.
Sure. I think notwithstanding what you said, Vikas, about America's role in the technology space, I think we as an organization are very hungry for these sort of global connections. And I know US-based teachers are really hungry to connect with peers across the world. So my hope is that this isn't just an annual event, but the start of an ongoing conversation. I'm really looking forward to connecting with Veronica and Anna and Osama and all the other regional partners after this, and hope that we're able to bring our teacher communities together as well.
Well, on that note, my friends, we're at that time where this incredible mammoth series comes to an end for this year. I owe a big thanks to all of our partners. And that by that, I don't just mean the chief executives or the executive directors. I mean the entire teams of people that have been engaged in the Teacher Tech Summit, as Veronica was right to point out. Please know that you have our admiration. I want to thank my team. And that's, they've done a Herculean task. When I came up with the zany idea of having so many summits, they would have shot me. But here we are. We've managed it. We've risen to the occasion. And I think it's been amazing. So thank you, Team T4. And that also includes all of our alliance members, all of our country ambassadors, all the people that have extended their support, including our sponsors, which are Spiffio and the Coppel Foundation. I want to say a big thank you to all of you. And on that note, please know that you know where to reach us. One of the things that I would say to you is that we have a lot of activity that happens on the T4 Communities app on an ongoing basis. You don't have to wait for these large events in StreamYard. We have high quality professional learning, development, and connection that happens there. And you're all more than welcome to join us. On that note, I'll leave you with our final video. Thank you all, and thank you for your support. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.